Welcome to Nutrition Your Way. I'm your host, Cindy Stickle. This podcast is for those of you that finally want to have control over your own health and your family's health. This is for you if you don't know what to eat to help your chronic illness or even your child's ADHD. I will share with you how to easily swap out unhealthy ingredients in your food for healthier ingredients that won't make you sicker or affect your chronic illness. And yes, you can still eat your favorite foods. Other areas I will cover include how to remove toxins from your food and life, how to eliminate the overwhelm you have with your health, including how to read labels, meal plan and prep, and how to manage grocery shopping with ease. My goal is to make biohacking effortless. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to talk about toxins in plastic. We are surrounded by plastic. Everything is made of plastic or comes in plastic containers or plastic wrap or packaging. And I mean, there's good and bad for plastics, but the way that they're made makes them very dangerous. The recipes that make up plastics are proprietary. So that means these companies that make plastic have no legal requirement to disclose the materials that they've used. So that leaves all of us pretty much in the dark. So the only way that we can really distinguish types of plastics is by looking at the resin identification code, at the bottom of the package or bottle container, it has the little triangle of the three arrows. It looks like a recycle symbol. It's not a recycle symbol. The number inside that symbol tells you what kind of plastic it is. Okay? So, certain types of plastic can leach phthalates. These are hard words to say, guys. And also they leach established endocrine disrupting chemicals that they already know disrupt our endocrine system, but yet they're still using them in the plastics. Phthalates are endocrine disrupting chemicals that can inhibit both estrogenic and androgenic activity in us humans and can therefore contribute to a long list of health issues like hormone disruption, fertility problems, and that's been on the rise for a long time, especially with more and more plastic being produced. Developmental issues in children, including a cluster of symptoms referred to as the phthalate syndrome, which includes male genital birth defects. Now, PET, looks like pet, but PET in all capital letters, the polyethylene terephthalate. Those plastics are one of the most common types we use. It's what plastic water bottles are most often made out of. Even though the word phthalate appears in the name, this type of plastic does not contain phthalates. However, this plastic is able to leach phthalates, so it's still very concerning because you're drinking water that's possibly getting contaminated, okay? PVC, or polyvinyl chloride, is one of the most toxic types of plastics. Its nickname is the poison plastic. Okay, PVC is hard and rigid. Phthalates, lead, cadmium, and tin can be added to add flexibility, allowing it to be made into things like shower curtains, garden hoses, food bottles, and cling wraps. Your plastic cling wrap. Then we have HDPE and LDPE. I'm going to list all these in the show notes. These are two of the least toxic types of plastics. They are used to make rigid, opaque laundry jugs, milk jugs, and the bleach bottles, which are the HDPE. Or the plastic bags from frozen fruit and veggies and grocery store bags are the LDPE. Then we have polystyrene or styrofoam. leaches styrene into foods that come in contact with it. I've heard this one for many years. You don't ever want to heat up styrofoam, because if you throw like a styrofoam cup on a campfire and you see all the different colors, the pretty flames, those are all toxins. Okay, and they leach into your food. So and it's increased whenever there's heat or fat. So foods that are fatty will automatically start leaching some of these plastics. Okay, then when you add heat, it just makes it worse. That's why when I spoke in the scale of environmental toxins episode, how I mentioned I don't heat anything in plastic. I only freeze it in plastic, and I just store it in glass. So I can reheat it in glass, and I don't have any contact with plastic. So the number 7 plastic is the catch-all category for all other types of plastics. Polycarbonate plastics, which often contain BPA, which we've heard of, right? It's the bisphenol A chemical, okay? BPA is most commonly added to plastics to make them rigid and hard. There are 4 things that increase the rate at which chemicals migrate from plastic: heat, oil, acidity, and abrasion. So don't heat your food in plastic, because then it makes it more, or it's going to leach. If you've used heated up tomato sauce, there's your acidity. If something's acidic inside plastic, it's a double whammy, where the food gets contaminated with the plastic that's broken down, and now part of the food chemical has gotten into the plastic, so that's why your containers are all stained like pasta sauce. And then when you scrub them down to try and get that off, you're also leaching BPA, okay? So BPA was first synthesized in 1891, and in the 1930s was considered for use as a synthetic estrogen drug, where it lost out to dialthestrol. It's another long one. It's been used in the manufacture of plastics since the 1950s. Metabolites of BPA were measured in 93% of people tested by the CDC in 2003-2004. Okay, this was 20 years ago, and it was in 93% of people. Hopefully over those years, and people have been slowly getting away from BPA. However, we know that BPA is found in 99%. 99% of the exposure comes from our food, according to some studies. Okay. Companies will say, "Oh, it's BPA free." Well, there are other chemicals, just like BPA, bisphenol A, but there's other compounds of similar chemicals that they're just replacing it with. So yeah, there's no BPA in there, but there could be another one that's just like it. So they're not lying, but they're not being truthful and telling you that there's still a toxic plastic in there, right? Okay, so just be on the lookout that they're replacing it with something. If they take something out, they have to replace it with something. And usually it's another toxic compound of the same chemical that they say is no longer in it. Okay? BPA exposure is linked to metabolic disorders, asthma, breast cancer, ADHD, hyperactivity, and a long list of other health issues. It's been linked to inflammatory bowel disease and leaky gut. Okay, BPA-free plastics typically contain that sister chemical, like I mentioned before, which is in the same family, like bisphenol S or bisphenol F, like Frank, which are molecularly similar, but they still have the same negative health effects. So there's no BPA in there, but there's BPS and BPF. So you have to watch, okay? Whenever possible, choose foods that are packaged in glass over plastic, especially foods that are acidic like sauerkraut or ketchup or foods that are oily, like nut butters, coconut oil, and all that. Silicone, which exposed to high heats can leach compounds called siloxanes, which have also endocrine disrupting effects. Okay? And silicone for room temperature use only, or for fridge or freezer, so it shouldn't be heated. Okay? So, those numbers on the bottoms of all the plastic containers that I was talking about, there's a short rhyme that can help you remember which ones are better. Okay? 5, 4, and 2. All the rest are bad for you. Please, if you have any questions, reach out, and I will see you next time. And as always, don't forget to subscribe so you can be notified when new episodes are released. And if you like what you hear, I would love for you to leave a review. Thanks for listening today. I really appreciate you tuning in to the Nutrition Your Way podcast to learn about easy swaps, toxin-free nutrition, and how to biohack your family's health. Don't forget to subscribe here, and you can also follow me on Instagram at Cindy Stickle or my website cindystickle.com for the latest updates. Links are in the episode description.